You're tuned in to the world of Tom, where you catch all the facts and stay connected with Tom Lane.
Program.
I know a lot of times.
Me, look at you. You look all cute. Okay. You said that you didn't know much about the citizen's arrest, but can you share with us what you do know?
Well, I know a lot of times people talk about citizens deal with quite a bit. And, of course, me being a police officer, I can't say I've ever run into that. So it's probably why I don't know much about it. I know we've had people detain other people in crimes like they're breaking in or something like that. I guess technically that could be a form of citizen's arrest where they're detaining someone that they believe has committed a crime. And then they'll call the police, and the police will show up and handle that.
Pointers on if we were to run into that situation and we weren't in a criminal act per se. Right.
If you were not in a criminal act.
Right. But we were still being detained for whatever their reason is.
I think, if you're not in a criminal act or anything like that, you should be free to leave. What people really need to do that are suspecting that, basically what you're talking about is suspicious activity. So they just need to call the police is what people need to do. If you're trying to detain somebody that hasn't committed a crime, that's a crime.
I didn't know if you're okay with sharing your thoughts on the George Floyd in Minnesota situation.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, like I told you on the phone, I think it's pretty obvious to any officer looking at that. I'll go as far as it's outrageous. It doesn't make any sense to me as an officer how somebody would hold their knee on someone who is handcuffed for such a long period of time. And when he's saying he can't breathe and everything else, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, I will say I'm not there and I don't want to prejudge that, but it looks pretty obvious that there's a problem. I think anybody seeing that should be outraged by that. I can't imagine a scenario where that's okay, or any kind of explanation that's going to say, well, okay, I understand. No, it's not understandable.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I didn't expect you to elaborate on your feelings, and I really appreciate that. So if we were being followed, if we were being chased, and we know ourselves that we have not committed a crime,
right?
What can we do to better protect ourselves? It's adrenaline rush. You don't know what to do. You're trying to react by defending yourself. You might not be thinking about yourself on the call to police.
Right.
What can you advise?
Well, you have a right to defend yourself, certainly. That case you're speaking about, the Arbery case,
mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot about that, but by all means, you have a right to defend yourself. And I think that's probably where we're going to get in that case is, you have what the citizen's arrest versus his right to defend himself. And I'll let them hash that out in court, right, because I don't know all the details about it. But certainly everyone has a right to defend themselves, especially if they feel like that someone's posing a threat or is trying to kill them or something.
Can you tell us about last night's town hall?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll back up to where I was trying to write an article for the paper, which basically was talking about trying to get more community involvement into our investigations to help us solve cases. It's something that I'm pretty passionate about. We have a problem getting information on cases. Especially those pertaining to wide variety of cases, but even murder cases that we have issues with. And it's a struggle for us. We need community participation so much. And I found myself always asking for that. And then as I'm thinking, like, why am I not getting it? I'm thinking about what the reasons are. Mm-hmm. And truthfully, our relationship as a department with the African-American community since I've been here, it's been poor. Actually, I think it's been better years ago. I think it's kind of eroded.
Decline.
Well, yeah, I do think that. And, going into that, I became chief middle of August, and in September officially. We've had so many incidents that really kind of helped erode that even further. We've lost some officers through some conduct, and we had the Captain Cooper incident. We had the David Robinson incident. We've had an officer-involved shooting. you know, and all these things kind of add to further skepticism about our trustworthiness. And I know it's a problem, you know, and kind of, you see, and then, you know, I was looking on the internet, I only tripped over this program. It's not like I get on the Department of Justice webpage on a daily basis. It's not something I do. I wish I could say I'm that smart. But as luck would have it, I found this program and I was like, you know, this is what we need. And this program is a program that the Department of Justice usually brings in after a major incident like a Ferguson type incident where you have civil uprising, riots, and after it really hits the fan. And I was thinking, what if we did this before we had all that, the rioting? Because so many people on both sides get hurt when that takes place and the community gets damaged. It's dangerous for officers. It's dangerous for citizens. And it's such a disruption to the community that sometimes it'll take years and may never repair from that. So I think it was important to me to really start the work. This program looked like to me, they bring in a mediator from the Department of Justice, and she, you know, the way she explained it to me, she doesn't pick a side. She basically comes in and tries to help communicate the problems that we have. It gives the African-American community, in our case, an opportunity to explain the problems they see. It helps, you know, some of those problems, I think we could explain why we do what we do, right. And that we just don't explain well. One of those things would be the court criminal investigations and the proper procedure for having enough probable cause to arrest somebody. I mean, a lot of times we get tips that are like rumor, and people expect us, they'll give us a name and expect us just to run and go pick them up. But we can't do that. That's actually, it's illegal for us to do that. We got to have enough reasonable suspicion just to detain somebody, and you got to have probable cause, which is even more of a level of evidence or belief to arrest them. Yeah. And still, you may not even have it enough to have them actually charged. So there's certain levels that you try to reach as a police officer that you're taught in the academy. And some of that stuff we could explain. Some of it, I mean, the legitimate complaints where it's officer conduct that we need to work on. And it's the way we're interacting with the public way and the way we're not interacting.
Right, right.
You know, so all that is important. I always say you have to have so many positive experiences to outweigh the bad. I mean, you really do. And if you're only interacting with the community, whatever the community demographic is, in the enforcement activity, you're going to have a problem. I mean, because that's the only time they see you, you know, and the only time they see you is when you're arresting somebody. We have a lot of good officers, and I know I work here, I work with them, and I know they're good people and they have good hearts. We're bad about relaying that to the community, and we want to be better about that. I know we could be putting a better foot forward and really making a better effort. And most of that is just kind of stopping when you see somebody in the yard and saying, introduce yourself as a new officer, or even as an officer that you just don't know this person, and try to develop a relationship and ask, how's the neighborhood going? You know, yeah. You don't got to pat everybody down every time you get out there, but just introduce yourself and just, you know, see what you can do. Now, some people won't do that. They don't want to interact with the officers. There's right now, which is a big thing that we deal with, is threats and intimidation. People always talk about snitching, and it's something that I say, you know, whatever a community will allow, that's what they will get. I mean, so if you have murder in your community and people are not willing to talk to the police, then you're going to have murder in the community. Yeah. Because if we can't build the trust, we're not going to get the information.
Yeah, at all. So if anyone in the area runs into a policeman that is having a misconduct situation,
Right.
Can't they be reported? Can't we ask for a supervisor? What can we do?
Absolutely. And this is something that last night after the meeting, because somebody had mentioned that, and I came back and I sent an email to everybody. And I said, here's the complaints that I heard at the meeting. And one was me telling them, telling the African Americans at the community, report the misconduct, report these things. And so I'm hoping that more people will report this activity that they see as misconduct. And we need to take the time to explain, if it's not misconduct, why it occurred.
Every Thursday with Tom